Akron 911.
Yeah, I'm positive you guys already called, but an airplane just crashed into these houses right in front of me.
911, there's some sort of explosion on Magador Road. I can see it burning right now. I thought I heard a plane go down, and I can see an explosion. I can see fire.
Good evening. Our top story is developing right now in Akron, Ohio, where searchers are recovering victims from a fiery plane crash into an apartment building. As many as 9 people were reported to be on board. All are feared dead. The small business jet was operating near the Akron Fulton International Airport this afternoon when, according to witnesses, it clipped utility wires and plunged into an apartment complex.
Well, on November 10th last year, we had a jet crash into a residential neighborhood in the Arlette area. And I responded to the scene, and I spent a significant amount of time at that scene that day and the days that followed. It was a pretty horrific scene, needless to say, and the fire department's trying to extinguish the flames, prevent other houses from becoming engulfed. The police department is there evacuating people, securing the scene, rerouting traffic.
When I pulled up, I didn't see anyone there besides a cruiser and a bunch of people, and those were the residents of the apartment complexes that the plane hit. So the first thing that was kind of on our to-do list was we were standing outside and it was raining and it was cold. I looked across the street and I saw Summit Academy. Went to the first person I saw, which was the secretary, and I said, are we able to come in and use a meeting room in your location? There was a television in that room. People are seeing their house burning to the ground, like literally watching it on TV. Fortunately, no one was hurt of the residents that were in that building that day.
And probably the best way to kind of describe an incident that I personally experienced with victim assistance is just trying to paint a picture of what happened the next day, the next morning, when 5 members of one family actually showed up to the scene.
I got a call, and he said, there's a family on their way. We need you back here.
The family comes to the scene, and I introduce the members of the Victims Assistance Organization.
You know, the feeling from an advocate's perspective of how great it is that we are there for them. Because after hearing that news, it's like, okay, now what? I'm standing in a crime scene, surrounded by all these media that I'm going to have to walk towards.
While they appeared detached and still a little bit in shock, I could tell that they were in tune when the victims' assistance people introduced themselves, comforted them, told them all their needs would be tended to. I felt it, I still feel to this day like it happened yesterday, their collective exhale, like, okay, we can finally put our minds at ease a little bit over such a tragedy.
To be introduced to these strangers, you know, they're strangers to us, our advocates, we're strangers to them. You know, we have to make sure that they know, you know, we're here to help them. They told us their names, their relationship to their daughter or their sister or their stepdaughter. So there was her father, her stepmother, 2 sisters, and a brother. You know, they stayed in a hotel last night. They had driven from Florida. Actually, one of the family members was from Ohio.
Hello, my name is Jeannie, and on behalf of the family of Diane Schatz Smoot, I'm going to share a little bit of our story and how we know about the great organization that you all have here in Akron, Victim Assistance. We found out about it on probably the second worst day of our lives. The worst day of our lives was November 10th, 2015. By the afternoon on November 11th, the great folks from the Victim Assistance Program found us. And for obvious reasons, we were in shock and disbelief and looking for answers. The Victim Assistance staff was awesome and generous and compassionate, and they were able to help us navigate through the numb and the shock and make sure we were at least as comfortable as we could be under the circumstances. Made sure we ate, and silly things like a charger for cell phones. You don't realize how often you take things like that for granted unless someone's there to offer that assistance. They were also instrumental in becoming a liaison between the NTSB and the FAA as they began their investigation. And they were also invaluable when it came to meeting with the medical examiner. It really would have been much more difficult hadn't the folks from victim assistance been there that day. I know for my family, it was a great comfort. And we certainly hope that they are able to continue their work and reach out to other families in similar situations. And it would be great if a program like this was nationwide. Please consider sponsoring or donating or volunteering to efforts like this. This is so important to families so they can cope and heal. And it's an invaluable service. Again, we can't thank you enough.
We've worked together with them for years. I am so proud of this to say that our relationship with them and the work they do, it was just, I hope if I was in a different community, I would have somebody like them, if this kind of incident happened, that they would be involved.
We're very few and far between, which makes me so proud to be able to be at this agency, to be here and know that our community has something so special that isn't seen around the country. To be able to know that if something bad happens, I will have someone there with me to kind of hold my hand, to help me navigate, unbiased, not judge me. I can confide in them and trust them, so that they know what's going to happen next and what I should do, and tell me what my options are. It's just amazing.